Time now for our great debate, and tonight's premise: President Obama is selling out the gay community. Critics point out he hasn't made good on campaign promises like this one on gays in the military.
I have stated repeatedly that don't ask, don't tell makes no sense. Why would we spend money kicking out Arab-speaking linguists that we need right now in order to apprehend terrorists because of some hang-ups that are outdated and outmoded and make no sense? We are going to overturn it.
Joining us now, a guy who's pretty fired up about this, Dan Savage, whose column Savage Love is syndicated nationwide. On the other side of this, Stamp Corbin, who is co-chair of the Obama campaign's Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Leadership Council. And of course, we want your opinion too, so vote by calling the number at the bottom of your screen. First, we're going to start each night, as we always do, opening statements from each of you. You each have 30 seconds on the clock. Dan, once again, the premise: President Obama is selling out the gay community. Make your case.
Well, on Don't Ask, Don't Tell, Barack Obama promised action. He was the fierce urgency of now, and what we've gotten since he was sworn in is the fierce urgency of whenever, and maybe I'll get to it. Barack Obama, although Don't Ask, Don't Tell is a congressional statute, is a law, has the power as commander-in-chief to do a stop-loss order ordering the military to stop discharging Arab linguist Dan Choi, West Point grad, 2 tours of duty in Iraq, Arab linguist being kicked out of the military under the Barack Obama administration, and Barack Obama could make that stop today with a stroke of his pen, and he has not done anything about Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
All right, you get your point here, Stamp.
Well, you know, I think what we need to understand here is President Obama has been in office simply 21 weeks. And I understand my community's desire to have Don't Ask, Don't Tell immediately overturned. There is some question, I'm not a legal scholar here, about whether the president does have the power to issue a stop-loss order that, in essence, turns over a law that has been enacted by Congress. So, where I agree, it is absolutely unconscionable that LGBT Americans continue to be kicked out of the military. Perhaps the president doesn't have the ability to take immediate action.
Well, Stamp, though, let me follow up here, because regardless of whether he has the power or not, it's pretty clear the Obama administration has not made ending Don't Ask, Don't Tell a priority in any way. So how can you ask people to be patient when there's no indication at all that he's going to act?
Well, you know, there is some indication that President Obama is going to act. He's just nominated Representative McHugh for Secretary of the Army, and McHugh has indicated that he also supports the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So that is an indication, I believe, that the president is getting his ducks in a row in order to be able to overturn Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And I think the video that you just showed of him shows his commitment. I understand, however, that my community...
I'm sick of hearing about the president's commitment. I want to see action from the White House. There's 2 things that have to be at work here: either political cowardice or animus. Vast majorities of the country support the immediate repeal of Don't Ask, Tell. Majorities of conservatives, independents, Democrats, majorities of weekly, regular churchgoers. There is no political risk in moving on Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and Obama is moving on every other item on his agenda. It's not that he's got so much on his plate he can't move on this. So there's something at work here: cowardice or animus, and it's looking more like animus, specifically based on what happened in California today, which is more pressing and urgent than the Don't Ask, Don't Tell, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, Stamp, go ahead, make your point.
Okay, Dan, the point is that you know and I know that the president does not make law. The President Clinton didn't make Don't Ask, Don't Tell. He signed it into law. Congress made Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And so what you're saying to me is that President Obama has the ability to overturn Don't Ask, Don't Tell. He doesn't.
President Obama has the ability to immediately suspend the enforcement of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. It was part of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell bill passed by Congress. The law that you're saying has no power to suspend, Congress included a provision in it giving the president express permission in crisis and wartime to suspend it.
Hold on one second. Dan, let me ask you this, because look at President Clinton's experience with this, too. You know, he took this issue on very early, and it very much hurt him politically. I mean, couldn't you argue that it's smart politics for Obama, if you really want this to get accomplished, to wait until the right time, the right moment?
You could argue that if 2009 were 1993. It is not. The polls, as I've already cited, show that the country has had a sea change on this issue specifically since 1993. And if not now, when? A year from now, it's midterm elections. A year after that, it's the re-election campaign.
Excuse me, Dan. We got what we wanted, what we requested from President Clinton at this time. And if we were sitting here in 1993 on the Campbell Brown Show, you would be extolling the virtues of President Clinton because he was going to lift the ban. 6 months later, we got Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which you are now talking about, saying that this is the worst thing in the world. It is. But we got that from a president who tried to execute on our rights.
I'm not defending Bill Clinton.
No, who tried to execute on our rights before he had his ducks in a row.
All right, guys, hold on, because I've only got about a minute left, and even a little less than that.
We have to talk about what happened in California today.
Well, what I'd like you to do, and maybe that's something you both agree on, is I just don't want to end the segment. We try to do this on every show, is trying to find a little bit of common ground between the two of you. Where do you think you can both agree on this issue in particular?
Well, I think that we can agree that Don't Ask, Don't Tell is a major priority for the president and for my community. And that I don't think that we should not pressure the president to move more quickly on Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I just think it's premature to say the president is selling us out.
The president has sold us out in California today. He filed a brief and a challenge to the Defense of Marriage Act that is so insanely bigoted that the HRC, Human Rights Campaign, which is the most mainstream, middle-of-the-road gay group, called it false and damaging legal arguments. People are incensed. Barack Obama's White House today issued a document that compared gay marriage to incest and child rape. That is the only action the Obama administration has taken on gay rights issues since they were sworn in. The only action.
All right.
We were talking about Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I agree with you on DOMA. That brief was...
Okay, there we go.
Agree with me on the fact that the Obama administration has taken no action on its promises to the gay and lesbian community. Whether we've been sold out or abandoned, it's shameful.
We got to go. We're out of time, but you agree. We found our common ground. A discussion we will be continuing. There's still a lot to talk about on this issue. I appreciate your very strong views to Stamp and to Dan. Thanks so much for your time tonight, guys.
Thank
you, Campbell.